I'm a complete novice. I don't even have trim removal. I've never taken anything apart in the car at all. And he said, well, I can fit it for you for 70 quid, but I'm up in Manchester. I thought, well, that's not too bad, but it's a bit of a trek from here. And he said, to be honest, they're really easy to do. You'll have no issues. And I said, I am a complete novice. I've never done it. Have you got any tips? No, it's completely easy. It's completely easy. Nothing to worry about. All right, okay.
Yeah.
There's this little box here, which is effectively CarPlay, Apple CarPlay, for this system, the CIC unit in the BMWs. So it's 2020 tech, fully integrated with 10-year-old design.
Right, okay.
So you'll be able to use your iDrive wheel, you'll be able to use all your steering wheel buttons, everything completely as if it came out of the factory, just with this box here. So
what is that box called?
It doesn't have a name, it doesn't have a brand.
Where'd you find it?
So I got it off a bloke called codeyourbeamer@gmail.com. So he's quite active on the Facebook groups, and he's also got an eBay page as well.
Okay.
It was £215 eBay, or if you just send him it on PayPal goods, it's 200 quid, including postage. So
£200.
So tonight's job is to trying to get it to fit, but there's no instructions.
Oh no, so you're doing it without instructions?
It's all YouTube videos and seeing how other people have done it. But the reason I got it was because someone posted on the Facebook forum how good it was and how simple it was. And I had I had a magnetic mount for my phone here, because I always use Waze. Although I've updated the sat nav on the hard drive, I just always use Waze. So for 200 quid, I thought, let's give it a go. It's Google Maps, everything that Apple Car. If you were to buy a 2020 BMW that you can do with Apple CarPlay, that comes with Apple CarPlay as standard, I should be able to do with this.
Right, okay. So this £200 unit, that's GBP, that's Great British Pounds.
Great British Pounds, yes.
And I can see that just before I got here, you've already removed this part of the dash.
So this is the CIC unit here. So this is what needs to come out. To get this out, you've got to get some trim removal tools underneath this bit of trim here, and lever the whole part of the dash
so
out.
that, look at this.
So that all comes out. And all that needs to do is just rest there, because all you need is access to the back of the climate vents, which you just stick your fingers behind, and the whole thing just pops out.
Wow.
That just all pops out.
So this whole vent is just one, this whole dash is one piece.
Yeah, and there's a cable in the back of the start-stop button, which has come out of its own accord. I didn't even have to touch it, it just came out. So we'll have to see if I'll have to make sure that's back in there. And then there's a couple more cables on the back here as well, but you don't need to take those out. Ever taken anything apart on a car at all in my life, ever, because I'm too impatient and I break things.
I like the way you're sort of talking us through it when you've never done it before in your life.
I haven't got a clue.
You do sound convincing though.
And then
convince me you know what you're doing.
The other thing is, and then there's 4 screws down here. 1, 2, 3 and 4, which it's just a normal Phillips head up here. That's them.
So you take those 4 screws out.
Take those 4 screws out, and then the whole thing. But especially in an automatic, you got to put the you got to put it in drive, because if it's in park, it won't come out. So you've got to have the gear stick in drive. Otherwise, when you pull it out,
there it is. So you've just undone the 4 screws.
Yeah.
A lot of cables.
Well, it rests this way, because that's just the natural point of it resting. The interesting thing about this, though, is that on here, there's a sticker for Sirius satellite radio, which is the American version of DAB, which I found quite interesting.
That is interesting.
And I also found underneath here a sticker from when it was built with that's like your barcode for when it's being built of what options to put on it when it's going down the production line. So it's like an archaeological dig you're going back here. I've also under here
You're a brave man taking all that out though when you don't really, you've never done it before. Fair dues to you.
We'll cross that bridge. So I've also taken out the panel here because I'm planning to sit the this CarPlay box underneath the driver's knee pocket, and I've also taken out the whole panel underneath, just a couple of torque screws, just to give me access to try and reach back through there to thread the cable through. So it came with a load of cables, which I don't think these cables are necessary for this job. Oh, it's the cat. So this cable specifically is for if you're having the reversing camera, because you've got back video in, reverse, front camera, all of these cables, all on this cable. So we don't need that.
Right.
This one, there's no labels on it. There's also a VW badge. We don't need that. This one, I don't think we need, although it does say iDrive on it. So that one's in the maybe pile. That we might.
So you don't
that.
Actually know.
But I haven't found
which of these cables you need.
I haven't found anywhere for this one to connect into with these connectors yet. So that's going in the no pile. And this one, yeah, I've no idea. So that's going in the no pile. But the main ones are, which we do need, is this major big connector, which plugs into the back of the original iDrive unit with one of these, and then the other end plugs into the cable that's coming out of the car that's going into the iDrive unit. So we need that, definitely. We need that, which is the Wi-Fi transmitter and antenna for the CarPlay that wirelessly links your phone to the box. And we need one of these, which is the video signal from the screen, from the box to the screen.
Yeah.
So we're going to unplug a few things, see what fits.
So hold on. So these cables, just to be clear, you didn't get any instructions?
No instructions, no. It's all YouTube videos and seeing what other people have done. So we'll hope for the best.
So basically you're doing all this from what's on your mobile phone as regards videos and web pages that show what to do. So you're watching a YouTube video.
So we've got a red LVDS cable, is the original one between the host and the screen, which is that one there, which I think is pink. I assume red means pink. So we've taken that out of the back of the CIC unit, the hard drive, and plugged it into the cable that came with the kit. Yep. And then we plug this, the other end of the cable, back into the CIC unit. Like so. Clips into there. So we've created a bridge now into the CIC unit. Out into there. Careful not to break any wires. So now we've got a yellow one and a red one. So let's watch this video and see what they do there. So that's what we've just done. Connected those cables up.
So what we've done then?
We've taken out the pink cable from the pink connector,
yeah,
which is completely guesswork as to whether that's right. I'm looking at a video that someone's doing and they've taken out the pink one. So we've taken out the pink one into the new cable, which runs into the LVDS in, and then we've got a cable LVDS out running back into the port. So it's coming out of this big cable. We've got a microphone and an aux. Now on this video they plug the aux cable into the aux port in the glove box here. So let's do that and see what happens. Now in theory that should be it.
So that means any sound that comes through, what you've got to do is select the auxiliary audio element of the car through the stereo system in order to get the sound to work. Then that's what that says to me.
Yeah. So let's turn it on. And then what this guy does is he presses and holds the menu button for 10 seconds. Right, so that's all working.
Well, that's a relief.
That's interesting. So the iDrive, that's not working there.
Okay,
so if I press and hold the menu button,
Oh, that got the iDrive
that
working.
works in there. Now, to get onto CarPlay, what you should have to do is simply press and hold the menu button for 2 seconds. Which, interestingly, I don't know whether you saw that, it is flashing black. When I do that, when I press and hold the menu button for 2 seconds, did you see that?
I saw that.
It flashed black. So that's quite interesting.
We now have a problem.
Dash is going haywire. So
The
what we're
dash
going
is
to do
going
is we're going
completely
to turn it
haywire.
off.
And that happened since we pressed we changed the settings on the dip switches. Right, so we've hit a problem now with an electronics failure because we couldn't get the unit to work. Tried to reconnect the system back to how it was, but we're now showing an electronics failure on the screen. But hopefully we can use an OBD port reader to clear that. So we have got problems now. We've got some error codes. We can't get it to work, is the first thing. So what we're having to do is put everything back. But before we can do that, we're hopefully going to clear all the error codes using my Autel AL619, which I bought for the Alfa Romeo, but was told it was also fine for use with BMWs as well, because I've got a BMW of the same age as this one.
So morning, after we had the electronics failure on the E91, and I've left the car locked overnight, and I've just come to it, and what we're going to do is we're going to unlock it and see if the faults have cleared overnight. Fingers crossed. Nope, we've still got our red service light, and we've still got our electronics fault stop carefully on the dashboard. I was doing quite a lot of research last night as to why this could have happened, and I think I've worked out that it was a simple case of not wiring the CarPlay unit up properly yesterday. I'll show you what I've discovered, but my plan now is to actually install the CarPlay system again, give it another go whilst the faults are still on the dashboard, because I want to go and get the faults cleared, but my thinking is I'd rather try and install the unit again and get that working and then get the faults cleared, and get the faults cleared, try and install it again, make a mistake and create more codes. So I'm going to crack on now, trying to get the CarPlay system installed again. I'm going to start taking the dashboard apart again, and I'll show you exactly at what point I think I went wrong previously, which has caused these errors. We'll see how we go. Okay, so this is where I think I went wrong last time, which is why the car went into fault and caused an electronics issue. So this is the CIC unit, which I've taken out the dash, and you can see the OEM 14-pin plug going into the back of it. I haven't removed it yet. You can see on the top there's a green cable and then a black cable with some conduit around it, if you like. Now these are actually fibre optic cables, and if you look at where they are on the position of the cable, they're in the top right of the plug. Found this out by researching on the internet and speaking to someone on the BMW forum very late last night, that actually those wires are in a little plug and they should be taken out of that plug and put into this one. So the fibre optics are still going straight into the back of the CIC unit. So that's what we're going to try and do. Other than that, it's going to be wired up exactly the same as I had before, and fingers crossed that is all it should be. So to get these fibre optic cables out, it was just a very, very small screwdriver, flathead, in this gap here. It doesn't look like a clip at all, but just in that gap there, very gently lever it up, and then out they slide. So that's the fibre optics now in the new pin. That just needs to go in the back of the CIC unit. You just push that clip in until it clicks, and now we should be good to go. So that plug there is going into the back of the CIC. The original OE plug is coming into here, and then that goes into this plug, which goes into the back of the box. So I think we're ready for another test run. So we've got the CarPlay box here. We got the OE 14-pin harness coming out into its bridge, which is splitting at this point here. You got the main cable going back into the CIC unit, now with the fibre optics in there. Oh, wait for that to focus. There you go, fibre optics down here, they're already in. And then you've got the LVDS cables. Again, I took this one out of the pink port, connected it up to the adapter, which runs around here, which goes into the back of the CarPlay box, and then you've got the out cable coming back and going back into there. It's all connected up, but it's still not working. So I press and hold the menu button for 2 seconds, and if you listen carefully, you can hear the box click, and all that happens is the screen just flashes black. Are you ready? If you listen very, very carefully, you should be able to hear it click. So something's still not right somewhere. I've checked and double checked the cabling. I know we've still got the errors on the dash, but the dashboard isn't going crazy like before, so I do believe that the fibre optic cables going into the right place was the cause of that. But something still isn't quite right, so I'm going to double check it and we'll have another look. I'm fairly sure it's all wired up. I've swapped over the fibre optic cables. I know it's saying electronics fault, but that's from yesterday. So yeah, I'm at a bit of a loss. I've checked all the cables. I can't believe anything wouldn't be working or is plugged in the wrong place, because otherwise it wouldn't be working at all. So we have success. We have full Apple CarPlay. The way I got it to work eventually was by swapping these cables over, because I realised it was a video issue rather than a software issue. Now I thought in was for an input into the box and out was the output into the car, but it's actually the other way around. The input is the input into the car, and the output comes straight from the original cable.
So we're going to just have a quick chat about what actually happened subsequent to you installing it, because initially we had some problems with the dash, and when you did that, the dash lights were still on, weren't they? So even though where we sort of finished off just now,
yeah,
is the CarPlay was working,
yeah,
and we're going to have a look at that in a minute. It looks absolutely amazing,
yeah.
So we are going to have a look at that. But what about the dash lights, because they were still on, weren't they?
So they were still on even when I put the car all back together. Everything was working.
Yeah.
It still had those electronic fault codes, electronics failure and everything like that, but everything was working, which
Yeah.
was the important thing to me. Climate control, radio, lights, wipe, everything was still working. It was just that I had these codes on the dash.
Yeah.
The most important thing to me was to find out if anything was wrong with the car and if I could still drive it without doing any more damage to anything.
And what codes were you seeing on the
So
dash?
it's the electronics fault, the ABS light and the traction control light.
Right.
They're all still on and on.
Right,
on permanently.
interesting, okay.
So I went down to the garage at the end of the road here, where I take the car to have where I took it to do the rear shocks, the rear springs, you know, little odd jobs like that. I took it down to him. He plugged it into his code reader, which was similar to yours, but a bit more sophisticated, a bit of touch screen and everything like that, but the same make and model of the one that we tried of yours. Fault codes came up, he cleared them, took the car for a drive. They were still on the dash. So even after he cleared the codes, they were still electronics failure, ABS, traction control, fine. So he didn't have any more time to diagnose it.
Right.
So I then went up to, I actually phoned my local BMW independent specialist in Warwick, and twice now, I'll never use them again because they were less than helpful. I then rang my next BMW closest specialist in Worcester.
Yeah.
He was much more helpful, but he was in a similar situation to Warwick, in which he was fully booked. So I went on the forums. I found someone in Coventry who does coding.
Yeah.
And he said, bring it up. I'm sure we can sort it out, but I'm not free until 6 o'clock tonight.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, that's better than nothing,
yeah,
but it's still leaving
still
it.
lastminute.com though,
it's still leaving it late in the day
okay.
to get it sorted before going to London the next day.
Okay.
So I then went to my local BMW Mini dealer, who I'm on good terms with. I was in there and I said, please do me a favour.
Yeah, right.
I really need your help.
Okay.
So and luckily they were quiet, and because he knew me, he said, come on, we'll get it in. And the main BMW tech over there, he got it in, plugged it into his system, and it produced a whole raft of fault codes, from glow plugs to everything. There was fault codes, about 30 or 40 fault codes. Now bearing in mind, I'd done the gearbox flash, I'd done the remap, and I'd been messing around with the electronics. All these fault codes were in the software and been stored in. So he wiped the entire lot.
Right. Okay.
So he completely wiped every ECU of fault codes.
Okay.
And started again. When he restarted the car, we had these 3 fault codes come back.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. So you've got them printed out, right? We'll get
were
some shots of those.
A 49A5 LIN bus communication fault, a K-CAN line fault, and a no communication possible with head unit. Now, head unit is this CIC unit.
Right.
These came back once he'd restarted the car, along with the electronics failure and the ABS and the traction control light.
Picture those afterwards.
So he presented these to me and he said, this is where we're at. I've cleared all the fault codes. These 3 have come back. We need the car back in to do diagnostics. He said, it could be anything. It could be a cable. It could be anything. Stood up to walk out and he said, Steve, he said, do me a favour, when you get home, try unplugging the battery for an hour, plug him back in and see what that does. I have seen cases of us trying to cure fault codes and they're not doing it, and people unplugging batteries, resetting the car, plugging it back in, and it being okay. And I thought, yeah, okay, all right, let's give that a go, sort of thing. Came home, did that, got the battery out, left it for an hour with the boot up, killed the car, plugged it back in, and it worked. And the electronics fault, I haven't seen it since. ABS lights gone, traction control lights gone, and I haven't seen any of those lights since.
That's unbelievable.
Better than that is the car is actually running better. I'm not getting glow plug failures when I start the car anymore. I'm not getting the juddering. It's actually improved. The car is actually
by unplugging
reset
the battery
itself and cleared all those fault codes, completely started again, and the car is running better than it was.
It's like when you get with computers, isn't it? And people just say reboot it.
It's like when you've had your computer on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and all you've been doing is putting it to sleep.
Yes.
And then you're using it, and it's getting slow, and it's getting slower and slower and slower. And then once you restart it completely, then it's absolutely fine.
That's amazing. Okay, so we're going to have a look at how this Apple CarPlay, now it's been installed, actually works. So you've got your normal dial.
Yep, normal dial. So the installation, the box is actually under here. I actually took out this compartment, and the actual CarPlay unit sits behind this at the moment. Okay. So that's where it's located.
Okay, right.
So I've still got all the same functionalities as on the BMW screen.
Is as standard.
So you've got your navigation still, you've got your radio.
It's all
still.
absolutely bog standard.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you've got all your vehicle information, all your
So
services.
nothing's changed with your vehicle in that respect.
I can do everything as normal as it could before. But if I press and hold the menu button here for 2 seconds, it changes the screen up onto the Apple CarPlay screen.
That's really good.
And I can just use it completely as normal. So I press menu, and it goes to the menu of the CarPlay screen. I use the rotary dial, and it just cycles through like that, and I can go to Google Maps by pressing down. I can add a destination, I can go to work.
See, this is incredible, and the quality, I don't know whether this is being relayed on the video, because obviously we're using an embedded camera phone here, so it's not so good. But the quality I'm seeing, look at that.
Change it to satellite map.
That's absolutely incredible. I mean, the quality. See, what you've got to remember here is that what you've done is you've embedded this into the existing screen. We see a lot of people putting secondary screens in, people having screens fitted to their BMWs, which usually goes into this area here, which is a secondary screen. But what you've done is kept the existing screen, and not only is it, you know, not only is it working, but the quality is incredible.
So you've got Spotify, you've got Waze, you've got Google Maps, phone messages, everything that would
all
be there.
running on the embedded screen.
BBC Sound, if you want.
And what you're doing is you're simply using the existing wheel. You're not adding any other features.
No.
You're simply using the wheel.
Steering wheel controls work as well.
Yeah. Oh right. Okay. So you can adjust things on here with your steering wheel as well.
Yeah. I use it every day. I don't even bother with the standards with the BMW CIC unit now. Just use this every single day because it's just so responsive. It's just like it would be if I'd spec'd it from the factory 10 years ago. If you could have, which you couldn't, which is the more amazing thing.
Yes.
You know, this technology wasn't even available.
I was going to say, when this car was built, this technology that you've embedded in now didn't exist.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so amazing, because the screen quality is so good. You wouldn't have thought that the resolution, because my sort of background is working in screen technology, and what's amazing to me is that the resolution on this, you wouldn't have thought would have been good enough, given it's an old screen, to produce the resolution required in today's technology.
Yeah.
But it does.
The standard BMW sat-nav system on the maps, to change between day or night mode, you have to manually go into the settings.
Yeah.
Somewhere on here, I can't remember. It's been so long. Oh, options. Options. Settings. Night mode. If I go onto CarPlay here, when I put my lights on, it changes to night mode.
Wow.
All by itself. Now if I go onto this and change this
That's
off.
really good, just by putting your lights on.
Yeah, so whenever the lights come on, so I'll turn the lights off, day, put the lights on, night. Now I don't quite know how that works, because obviously it's a completely separate box. So it's really quite bizarre. I mean, it's good.
I don't know how it works.
It's good. I haven't got a problem with it, but I found it out the other day. I was like, oh yeah, you put the lights on, it goes to night mode. Turn the lights off, and it's in day mode. Now, how can that do it, but the standard built-in system doesn't?
Can't do it, yeah.
I've been running it a couple of weeks now, and it worked absolutely fine to begin with, and then I started having to connect my phone manually every time I got in the car. So I had to go onto CarPlay on my phone, disconnect it, forget car, disconnect it, reconnect it, and then it would find it.
Right.
And then every 20 seconds or so, the entire screen would go blank, the audio would drop out for about half a second, and then it would all come back again.
Okay.
And I was thinking, I can live with that, but having to connect my phone up every single time was getting a bit annoying. But actually a software update on the phone cured all of that.
Oh, right. So it was cured with a software update on the phone.
So it said that my phone was saying it was ready for an update, thought nothing of it.
This is an Apple update.
Yeah, an Apple update. Did the update, and that's
cured it.
So
amazing.
Every time I get in the car now, it connects straight away. I haven't had that screen dropping out or anything like that.
So the problems that you've had have been cured. One, the big one was cured by resetting the car with disconnecting the battery, and the other one was cured by actually updating your phone.
Absolutely.
Neither of which involved the device at all.
Nope. I'm a complete novice. I don't even have trim removal. I've never taken anything apart in the car at all. And he said, well, I can fit it for you for 70 quid, but I'm up in Manchester. I thought, well, it's not too bad, but it's a bit of a trek from here. And he said, to be honest, they're really easy to do. You'll have no issues. And I said, I am a complete novice. I've never done it. Have you got any tips? No, it's completely easy. It's completely easy. Nothing to worry about. All right, okay. But
it wasn't.
It wasn't.
I mean, let's face it.
And the point is that we made two errors. Number one was not disconnecting the battery.
Yeah.
Which, when you're doing any electronic work, in hindsight, yes, you should disconnect the battery.
True.
The other one was that
the cable's the wrong way
optic-
round.
The fibre optic
Yeah.
cables. No one anywhere, not this guy who sold it to me, who claimed it was completely easy, told me to swap those fibre optic cables over. It was only from me doing my own research and ploughing through forums and finding a diagram, and I noticed a little thing that said, remove fibre optic and put into it. I thought, maybe that's it. It's brought it up to date, and I'm now... So the longest I've ever kept a car is 18 months and 25,000 miles.
Yeah.
And I'm now at 14 months
Right.
and 22,000 miles.
So you're going to sell it now?
No.
No. No, I certainly hope not.
For once, I'm
Yeah,
not. I have
totally get
absolutely no
I
plans to
get
sell
that.
it.
No, certainly. Brilliant. Okay, that's good. Well, there we are. Hopefully
Yep.
that's answered everyone's questions about the Apple CarPlay, which looks absolutely incredible. So, yeah, we'll keep you posted. Maybe do a review in a few months' time with an update on how it's been going. In the meantime, thanks for watching.
Thank you.